Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, you're going to have those people in your life. So how do we survive this holiday season? It's a madhouse. It's crazy. We're traveling to and fro. We're answering questions from people we haven't seen in 6 months to a year. We're having to deal with the stress and pressure of making sure all the food's on time and we're there on time and the kids are running around the house and all that kind of good stuff. So what do we do when it comes to DISC that will help us to have a happy, healthy holiday season? Stay tuned and find out more. Gobble, gobble.
Welcome to the Rapport Advantage Podcast. I am Alex Swire-Clark, human behavior expert, author, and award-winning speaker. Understand yourself and others to unlock your potential.
Welcome back, everybody. Alex Swire-Clark here, emotional intelligence expert, author, and award-winning speaker, speaking to you today about holiday survival. How do we get through it? How do we manage the stress and strain? And what can we do to anticipate the behaviors that others are going to see during this crazy holiday season? Now, if you listen very closely, you hear the sound of traffic in the background. I just put the little ambience in there, some ambiance, to get you into the holiday spirit of going back and forth up and down the roads or on the planes or wherever you're going to get to for this holiday season. So no matter if it's this holiday or holidays in the future, these same things will apply. So if you're having friends over, or if you're traveling to someone's house, you're going to experience a little bit of each one of the personality styles. You're going to have some D's there, I's, S's, and C's. How do each one of those folks respond? How do each one of those, approach Thanksgiving? What do they do? What do they say? How do those things go? So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Prefer you to like any videos that you see here. We've got stuff on couples. We've got things for our business. We've got all kind of great emotional intelligence training here on the channel. So let's talk about our high D's, which I have on my hat right now. High D's, they're going to come in there fired up. Hey, how are you? It's been a year. How you been doing? Who's got the turkey on? Wild turkey, that is. And so the D's are going to come in fired up because they're outgoing and task oriented. They want to get involved. They want to get into everything, play the games, cut the turkey, say the opening blessing, all those things. They're going to come in fired up, ready to go from day one, because they're going to be wired, ready to go in there, take charge, be the boss, watch the game, scream at the TV when their team's not winning after the meal's over with, all those kind of good things. So I'll take that D hat off for a minute, and let's go reach over to the other pile, and let's find our I hat. And so for the I's in your life, man, they're going to come in there crazy. And so it might look something like this. Woo, it's turkey time, baby. Let's go. I haven't seen you guys in a long time. Hey, how you been? Who's playing board games tonight? Y'all ready to play some stuff? We're going to have a good time. It's going to be good. Susan, so good to see you. I haven't seen you forever. Girl, high five. High five. Yes. Over here. So they're going to be super energetic, ready to go, ready to fire it up, talking about anything and everything. Everything's a conversation for them. Oh, where'd you get those earrings? I got them in the store. Oh, yeah, I haven't been in that store in forever. Are they still open? And then it just starts to go and go and go. Those I's, very much outgoing and people-oriented. They are the life of the party. They don't really need to go to a party. They are a walking party, so they're going to make your holiday experience a great one. But when it comes to kind of getting to slow down a little bit, that's going to be a challenge because they are wide open all the time, super friendly, super positive. Glass is always full. They're going to enjoy the conversations around the table. They're the ones making the jokes. They're the ones that are getting everybody to laugh and just making the event a fun one. So then we move on to our, that was about the I's, by the way. So we're moving on to our S styles. And so for our S styles, they are our reserved and people-oriented. So they're super excited about getting together with family. They take their family relationships very seriously. They're going to come in very sweet, very happy to be there. Lots of warm hugs. Remember Olaf, from Frozen, he's a snowman, always walks up to people and say, I like warm hugs. And so S's are all about the hug factor. So they're super caring, super loyal to their family members. And so for them, holidays are going to be a great time to reminisce, to listen to stories about, family gatherings in the past, all those kind of things where they can just be loving on everybody and be loved by everybody, because that's just who they are, just the way they are, how they're wired. They're just exceptional at giving and receiving all of those emotional positivity situations in their lives. So they'll be the person that sits down and listens to Aunt Sue talk for 3 hours straight about anything from her bowel issues to her cats climbing up a tree and can't get down, whatever. Those S's are really, really supportive, are great listeners. And for them, they're just going to be really involved into being helpful. So they're the person that won't necessarily cook the meal if they're a guest over, but they're going to want to help set the table, or they're going to want to help clean up afterwards or anything like that. So really, really great to have those S's around. They make that house feel more like a home. And then we've got our high C's. High Cs are reserved and task-oriented people. So those high Cs, man, they are all about the process and the procedure, right? So they're going to show up mega early, like 45 minutes early before they're supposed to be there. You know, they're going to be on time, ready to go, making sure that we're following the processes. Now we got a schedule, right? We're supposed to be eating at 12 o'clock. And then, 1 o'clock, we're going to stop and watch, the guys are going to watch the football game, and the ladies are going to go over here, and the kids are going to be outside doing this. And then at 2:30, we're going to come back out inside. We're going to eat dessert and all that kind of good stuff. So they're very much sticklers to the recipes. Ooh, excuse me. So they're very much sticklers to recipes, to timelines, to schedules, to agendas, because that's how they function. They are very much process oriented. And again, those C's aren't going to say a whole lot because they're reserved. So they're not going to be the first people to talk. So if you're high I or high D, you're going to have to be the folks who lead the charge and to pull out the information from them, because they're just normally going to be quiet. It's not that they don't want to be there. It's just that they find it challenging sometimes to start those conversations. So putting my D hat back on for a moment and look at those Ds. For a winning scenario at a holiday for a D is for them to get a chance to be in charge. So they're going to organize a game or something where there's competition, guys against the girls, or, grandparents against the parents, or whatever else. They want to find opportunities for them to win. So grandparents want to try to play checkers against their kids and beat them, and beat them twice or 3 times in a row, or whatever. No mercy. They're going to want to talk about their successes at their career, at their workplaces, show off any kind of pictures on the phone. Oh yeah, this is when I, shot that 18-point deer, or this is when, we won the trip to Maui for my sales conference, or whatever it happens to be. So those Ds are going to be very flamboyant in terms of telling those stories, but telling them in a way that shows their success, their family success, and their own individual success. And so what's a losing situation for those high Ds? Man, those Ds cannot stand to have to listen to people for more than 2 or 3 minutes at a time. That's just not how they're wired. They're not really empathetic listeners. They're fixers. So they might sit down and listen to Uncle Joe's problem that he's talking about with his, his car. And he's like, well, let's not talk about Joe anymore. Let's go out to the car. Let's get it fixed. And they're going to, roll up their sleeves and put on some things. But if they have to listen for a long period of time, sitting back and listening to other people tell stories is not going to be ideal for a D. So get them involved, get them doing things where they can get some of their competitive juices flowing, because they'll thank you for it. And they'll be a very, very happy one once that gathering's over. Now for the I's just want a chance to have conversations. They just want to have a chance to talk. So those I's are going to be scooting around to all the different groups, all the different people in those groups, and asking them about their families, and then basically exchanging those stories back and forth, making things fun. They're going to be putting on the music. They're going to be doing all the crazy, wacky games that gets everyone involved and having a good time and laughing. They might even set up a little karaoke machine or whatever it happens to be. They want to make sure everyone's having a great time and having fun. And whether they're the center of attention or other folks are sharing that center of attention with them, that's going to be a winning condition for them. For the I's, isolation would be a problem. So if, during this whole COVID pandemic, when those I's couldn't be with other family members, that was super, super challenging for them, because they get energy by being around others. So for your I's, the more they can get around the room, the better. Don't isolate them if you can help it, because that's going to kind of cut off their that's going to cut off their energy, positive energy, and provide them with a lot of negative energy. So make sure they have enough time to visit with everyone there and really establish those relationships that they maybe haven't seen in 6 weeks, 6 months, or maybe it's 6 years, who knows. For the S's, winning for them is all about being helpful. So they don't need the limelight. They don't need the spotlight. They just want to go around helping people. So whether that's setting the table, whether that's just being around others and listening to stories and being supportive of others. One of the grandkids scratches their knee, a high S can come in there and let's get that washed off. And they're very happy to do that. So winning for them is helping others. Losing for them means a lot of competitive stuff, a lot of in your face, a lot of kind of take that kind of stuff, or one-upsmanship. They really don't get involved with that because they don't like a lot of conflict. S's cannot stand conflict. So they will kind of remove themselves from the room or from the scenario if things get heated or been out of shape. So when those family reunions come on and folks are getting together and they're kind of at each other's throats, the S's will kind of recede to the background because they don't want to have anything to do with that. So that would be very much a losing scenario for a high S. And for those C's are about organization. So it can't be one of those, well, what do y'all want to do? I don't really care. Oops, got my high I hat on. I moment. So those C's want to have some structure in place. They want to make sure that everyone's following procedures. Here's the things that we've traditionally done. They've worked in the past. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So let's just stay on point. Let's meet at grandma's house at 2 o'clock. We've been doing that for the last 20 years. It works. We know what's going to happen. And so those things are great. Any type of spontaneous activity will be a losing situation for a high C. If you start to say something, hey, I want to surprise you guys. We're going to do this today instead of whatever we've done before. That's going to be really tough because the C's, they need that time to process. They've got to have time to say, okay, why are we making this change? What's the purpose behind this? How's this going to impact me today? Are we going to arrive home on time? Because I got to get the dog from the vet and da-da-da-da-da. And so they're always thinking about the tasks they have to do surrounding any of the events that are going on. So the C's in your life, they want the structure. They've got a plan. They're probably the folks who are making the plan before we ever all get together. So everyone's going to arrive on Wednesday night. We're going to get up at, Thursday morning and da-da-da-da. We're going to run around and then, 12 o'clock, we're going to sit down to eat lunch. And then we're going to come back in at 2 o'clock for dessert. And we're going to have some family games at 4 o'clock or whatever. But they're going to be structured. They're going to be very clinging to that structure. If there's no structure, there's just kind of anarchy, in the house, so to speak. Kids running around everywhere, lots of screaming and yelling or whatever. The C's are going to be really, really stressed out because they like order. They like process. They like repeatability. And so those holidays can be really, really taxing for them because when people are out of their element, you got kids or grandkids or even husbands and wives or aunts and uncles who are out of their element, not at home and having to, put on a happy face all the time. For the C's, it's really a strain because when they have to put on a happy face for a long time because they're reserved and task-oriented, that's just not something they're very comfortable with that they want to do for a long period of time. Your I's and S's, they're fine. They love being around others. D's and C's, not so much. So we need to understand that those things are going to trigger all those different styles, and then those things are going to also make all those different styles happy. So we have to make sure we're channeling the happy and avoiding those unpleasantries, as it were, as we go through. So that is a quick little brief summary on some tips that you can use to survive this holiday. Find out who your folks are. And if you want to do the activity that I do in all my workshops, you can sit there and divide the family up. If you're more outgoing, come over here. If you're more task-oriented, come over here. If you're more people-oriented, come over here. If you're more, if you're outgoing versus reserved, and if you're people versus task, you can kind of divide the room that way. And of course, your outgoing and task are your D's, your outgoing and people-oriented your I's, your reserved people-oriented are your S's, and your reserved task-oriented folks are your C's. And just have a conversation about it and figure out why people like to do what they do. Figure out why people say what they say or don't say what they say. For the C's and S's in the room. And that can kind of create a little bit more clarity in terms of these relationships in your life that you may not understand as well as you do your own personal close relationships in your nuclear family. Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got tons of great videos that come out pretty much every week. We try to provide content to help you. We don't try, we do it, baby. We help you to succeed in your personal and professional life using emotional intelligence to better predict people's behavior and transform the way you communicate. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care for now and happy holidays.